Okay. Oh. No, I still can't hear. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Oh, that's the wrong way. Yeah, this way. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Okay. All right, we are on day 6 of the ongoing teaching and say their name square. We've just wrapped up day 5. We finished reading locking up our own. We finished the main book. We did not, however, get through the epilogue. We had a few battery related complications. However, we did complete the book. So we are going now to move on to day 6. And we are reading Rise of the Warrior Cop, The Militarization of America's Police Forces by Bradley Balco. But before we get into reading that, we are going to go through the excuse me, sorry about that. We are going to go through the Rockford Rundown. The Rockford Rundown is just the summer. Oh, how did you do that? Okay. The Rockford Rundown is just a summarization of the events that have taken place in Rockford since May 30th leading up to now. On May 30th, 2020, a protest was organized by community activists in Rockford, Illinois, to march in solidarity with the city of Minneapolis after the murder of George Floyd by police officer Derek Chauvin, and to bring awareness to the countless victims of police terrorism in the city of Rockford. Let me move it. Can y'all see? Oh, y'all, let me move away. I'm going to move it to the left some more so y'all can see Denzel just a little bit. Make sure y'all can see Denzel. Okay, there we go. During the protest, speeches were given by members of the community, and a march was held that ended at Rockford Police District 1. At District 1, after speeches, a handful of people at the protest began throwing rocks and other objects at the District 1 building, but after discourse between community members, items ceased being thrown and no one was injured. The officers of District 1 stayed inside of the building through the entirety of the happening. However, shortly after this, the district commander, Ken Wisenhand, led officers out of the building in riot gear. Before any order of dispersal was given, officers of the Rockford Police Department began assaulting people in attendance of the protest using cruel and unusual forms of brutality and violence. Pepper spray bullets, stumping, kicking, punching, tasing, slamming, and knees on necks were all used in efforts to terrorize children, teenagers, young adults, and the elderly. 10 people were falsely arrested, and over 100 citizens were physically and psychologically damaged by the actions of local law enforcement. These are the demands of the victims of the police brutality attack of May 30th in Rockford, Illinois. Demand number 1. We demand all charges in connection to the protest on May 30th be dropped immediately without contingency on any agreement or deal being signed by the wrongfully accused parties. Demand number 2. We demand the inherent bias findings of the Rockford police investigation and the findings of the investigation done by an outside source be released to the public without redaction. Let me try that again. My fault. Demand number 2. We demand the city of Rockford procures an entity outside of the Rockford Police Department to investigate the actions taken by officers on May 30th due to the conflict of interest. Demand number 3. We demand the inherent bias findings of the Rockford Police Department investigation and the findings of the investigation done by an outside source be released to full without redaction to the public. Demand number 4. We demand to be informed of the badge number and the name of each officer at Precinct 1 on May 30th, informed of each officer who made an arrest, and to be informed of each officer who discharged their taser. Demand number 5. We demand all elected officials in the city of Rockford condemn the actions taken by the Rockford Police Department on May 30th and also condemns the lack of results the investigation into the conduct of RPD has yielded. Demand number 6. We demand the city of Rockford make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, or psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of their officers. The city should make accommodations for up to 12 months to pay for these services for each individual. Demand number 7. We demand that all officers that participated in the violation of human rights outside of District 1 on May 30th be terminated immediately and their crimes against humanity be punished to the fullest extent of the law. During the summer of 2020, weekly protests were hosted at City Market to raise awareness to the victims of the police brutality attack of May 30th in the city of Rockford, Illinois. For the first 5 weeks, these protests occurred with demonstrators assuming the role of pedestrians walking continuously on the crosswalk on East State Street and Water Street, horizontal to City Market. Megaphones were used to project the voices of activists speaking about May 30th, and the siren function of those megaphones were used to alert traffic of the ongoing demonstration. It was a safety precaution. All of these things occurred with no arrest and no laws broken. The Rockford Police Department even went as far as to set up roadblocks using police vehicles on multiple weeks. On July 31st, in concert with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department, the Rockford Police Department assaulted multiple demonstrators on the crosswalk of East State Street and Water Street in the process of arresting 14 people. For the next 8 weeks, the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department and the Rockford Police Department, along with the city of Rockford and the county of Winnebago, conspired to use terroristic tactics to intimidate citizens who participated in the protest at City Market. People were assaulted in a myriad of ways, including being pepper sprayed and slammed to the ground in the process of 33 people in total being falsely arrested and jailed by law enforcement. These are the demands from City Market 2020. Demand number 1. We demand all charges in connection to the City Market protest be dropped immediately without contingency on any deal or agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. Demand number 2. We demand the investigation into the violation of human rights in connection with the City Market protest by the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Rockford Park District, Metro Enforcement Agency, and any other agencies involved. Demand number 3. We demand all elected officials in the city of Rockford and in Winnebago County make a public statement about the violation of human rights of protesters by the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Rockford Park District, and Metro Enforcement Agency in connections to the City Market protest of 2020. Demand number 4. We demand the city of Rockford and Winnebago County make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, or psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of their officers in connection to the City Market protest. The city should make accommodations for up to 12 months to pay for these services for each individual. Demand number 5. We demand that the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office return all personal property, including but not limited to cell phones, speakers, and 20 megaphones to the people who were arrested at the City Market protest. Demand number 6. We demand the city of Rockford and Winnebago County ban the use of chemical agents by Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, and Metro Enforcement Agency at areas the city and county designates as protest zones. Demand number 7. We demand Sergeant Tom Brimhole's son, Adam Pickett, be charged for assault and unlawful restraint for the actions he took on a protester on July 31st at the City Market protest. Demand number 8. We demand that Kathy McDermott be terminated from her position at Rockford City Market and be replaced with someone who puts the community's interest above economic gain. Demand number 9. We demand Peter Provenzano and Rock River Development Partnership give ownership, all rights and control of Rockford City Market to the city of Rockford so that it can be handled in a more equitable and democratic manner. Demand number 10. We demand that all officers that participated in the violation of the human rights of protesters in connection to the City Market protest be terminated immediately and their crimes against humanity be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. On October 3rd, 2020, a protest began in the form of an occupation outside of Rockford City Hall after Tyrus Jones, an unarmed black man, was shot in the back by the Rockford Police Department Officer Dominic McNeese on October 2nd, 2020 in Rockford, Illinois. The demands of the protesters organizing the demonstration were as reads. 1. A press conference from Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara. 2. In said press conference, Tom McNamara spoke on the shooting of Tyrus Jones and the ongoing police terrorism that took place in the spring and summer in Rockford, Illinois. 3. Mayor Tom McNamara answered questions from the media at said press conference. The mayor instead released a Facebook post 2 days after the shooting in which he never even stated the name of the victim that he was referring to. On October 5th, 2 of the protesters participating in the occupation were assaulted at the hands of the Rockford Police Department in the process of 6 people ultimately being arrested. Since the demands the protesters put forward were never met in full, the occupation continued through this attack, and for the last 6 months, protesters have continually occupied outside of City Hall in Rockford, Illinois. While doing so, police officers have harassed, followed, and threatened citizens. They have torn down structures being used to house people in deadly cold weather. They have stolen blankets, hand warmers, food, clothes, and books from protesters in the middle of the night. The city officials of Rockford who work inside of City Hall have engaged in racist microaggressions throughout the entirety of the occupation, including but not limited to weaponizing police on people of color. Demands from the victims of Occupy City Hall. Demand number 1. We demand all charges in connection to the occupation at City Hall be dropped immediately without contingency on any deal or agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. Demand number 2. We demand all ordinance violations, fines, and parking tickets issued by the city of Rockford in connection with the occupation at City Hall be dropped immediately without contingency on any deal or agreement by the wrongfully accused parties. Demand number 3. We demand the city of Rockford, the Winnebago County State's Attorney, and the Rockford Police Department release all video footage of arrests made in connection with the occupation at City Hall. Demand number 4. We demand each memorial and Say Their Name Square be up permanently without desecration, from the city of Rockford, the Park District, or the Crooked Rockford Police Department. Demand number 5. We demand the resignation of Assistant Deputy Chief Carla Redd and Rockford Police Department Officer Brandon Mather for their assaults during arrest on individuals at Occupation City Hall. Demand number 6. We demand Tom McNamara hold a press conference open to the public addressing past cases of shootings by the police and the ongoing police terrorism in Rockford, Illinois. Demand number 7. We demand the city of Rockford make accommodations and pay in full for the services of counselors, therapists, or psychiatrists, or anything else needed to help the mental health of those traumatized by the actions of their officers and employees in connection to the occupation at City Hall. The city should make accommodations for up to 12 months to pay for these services for each individual. Demand number 8. We demand the city of Rockford and the Rockford Police Department return all property stolen from the occupation, including but not limited to canopies, cell phones, blankets, chairs, and megaphones to the occupation at City Hall. Demand number 9. We demand Kyle Saunders be terminated from his position immediately and be replaced with an individual that puts the community's needs over the government's crooked interest. Demand number 10. We demand all bans from City Hall property be lifted immediately without contingency on any deal or agreement by those involved in the occupation at City Hall. Okay, that is the Rockford Rundown. We are on day 6 of the ongoing teaching at Say Their Name Square. We are getting ready to start the reading of Rise of the Warrior Cop by Radley Balco. I'm going to end this live and start a new one up here, and stay tuned in. All right, share these videos.